Right, good evening. Welcome to Fishing Squad. Well, we're just tackling up back in North Wales, just tackling up, baiting up for the first cast back out on our second trip through to Wales this year. Got a rig that consists largely of sea glow components. I put a big fish rig on my channel with the sea glow components that I'm using, and I've got a similar rig here. We're using that rig as well, but for the first bait I'm using this one with 200 pound mono. We've got a back-hook of a short shank Kentaro 8.0 hook and 6.0 Mutsu circles at the bottom hook. Strange combination maybe, but I reckon that back hook, because it sits prouder out the bait than the bottom hook, will nail the fish. We're just testing something on this rig. I'll show you the other rig again, because I'm going to pre-bait that one. That's going to be another rig that I'm using. Trying one with mono, 200 pound mono, pulley rig with mono straight through. The other rig's going to be 120 pound wire on the snood. Just exactly the same, short rig for casting, round bottom link, large bait clip, sea glow splash down, consisting of sea glow crane swivels as well. So I'm going to get this cast out, target Huss congers, anything that bites basically. We're just going to start with one rod, then probably put a second rod out with a flapper rig on. So obviously we're in a species hunt this year with Tommy Joe on Tommy Joe Sea Fishing Hunt. Tommy Joe Species Hunt. We did start on the lower ledge, but we're nearly at high tide. There's a bit of a swell on still from yesterday. It blew quite heavily from the southwest, up to 50 mile an hour. We've now got a west-southwest wind of about 25, so it has quelled down a bit. We're on our Huss mark tonight. So we'll just see how we get on. I'm just experimenting with lighting. I've got a ring light. I'm just seeing what I can do. That's better, isn't it? It's not as grainy. So yeah, that's the bait. Like I say, Kentaro short shank 8.0, Mutsu circle, both sea glow hooks. We'll get this cast out. I will be adding a bit of squid to it. I just made the fastest bait up I could just to get fishing. So Jay's already got his rod out. So we'll get this cast out and see if we can catch something. Fingers crossed and all that. We're about an hour from top of the tide. On the Gladstone dock tide table, if you like, it's a 9 metre. That's the one I use, the Liverpool Labour tide table around here. They're decreasing, so it's usually good for Huss. Most tides are usually good for Huss. Let's have a bite then. No, most tides are usually good for Huss around here anyway, especially on this mark they are. So it's enough chat, let's get fishing. That's one rod out. I'm just going to fish with one rod, like I say, till the sea ebbs off a bit. It's tough conditions, we've got a full moon. Coming up to top of the tide, there's quite a run of tide in front of us, kicking to the left. So I'm just going to take it steady to start with, ease ourselves into the session. It's tough conditions at the moment, with the swollen tide run and getting up to the top of the tide. So let's see how we get on. Right then guys, a bit of an update. Jay's just lost a Huss on the surface on a full mackerel. Just come off into swell. Give a really aggressive bite. It's a bit disappointing, but you know what they're like, sometimes that can happen. First bait up, so it's a really positive start. Fingers crossed, a few more. Graces with the present. It come off on, we've got to lift it up a bit, and it slipped the hook. If they're not properly hooked, sometimes they're a bit finicky while they pick the baits up. It can happen. We got it on bottom ledge down there, but then a wave come and just washed it off with the hooks basically. So just both rebaited rods obviously, and then try again. But it's a positive start that, so we'll see how we get on. I've actually put one of them rigs on that I made the other night. So we've got a 8.0 Kentaro short shank, an 8.0 Kentaro octopus, 120 pound wire, 200 pound rig body, and sea glow crane swivels and sea glow splash downs. So we'll give this a cast out and see if we can get something. Nothing much has happened. We've now managed to get on the lower ledge, which is good because we're a bit more sheltered and we can actually fish more in contact with the sea, with our baits if you like, rather than having a lower line out above. So let's see how we get on. Right, not a lot's happening. We've had a couple of crappy little bites. We've now got a flapper rig out on the right hand rod. Still sticking at it with a decent sized rig, reasonable sized bait on the left hand. I've had to put a slightly smaller bait on that rig, like mackerel fillet with a piece of squid attached to it, just to see makes a difference. But we're struggling, really. Jay lost that Huss. That's actually been good footage of. And, not what's happened since. I've had a couple of crappy little bites, like I say. I think the crabs and lobsters. The sea's ebbing out. It's calmed off a lot. I had a little bit of an inquiry then on the right hand, I think. I think it's getting mauled by lobster and crab, maybe. We'll stick at it for a bit longer and see how we get on. Right, I've managed to get a dogfish on the flapper rig. Mackerel squid. It's not actually a badly sized one, to be fair. A lot of the ones we seem to get these days are tiny. I mean, it's not a big deal, is it? But it does have like a Huss looking eye. Do you see that then on camera? When I said that the obvious difference between a Huss and a dogfish sometimes is the eye, a lot of times the eye, on one of my other videos, that has actually got it's got a clear pupil in that. I don't know if it's because I'm so close to the lighting I'm filming, but you see, it's definitely. Hey, what do you say? It's massive. It's definitely, yeah. It did definitely have a pupil, didn't it? I'm just making sure it wasn't a Huss. It's not a Huss, there's no doubt about that, but it's a nice sized dogfish, that. Not bad at all. I'm just trying to make it sound like just a bit of content for video that's we're struggling in. Yeah, it's a female. See if I had any egg purses in it, because like I say, it's quite a fat one. Right, we'll get her put back. Struggling. Right, I've just lost a Huss. I've just swapped the hooks on my flapper rig. I had 2 size 4 hooks on. Aberdeen's, no particular brand. I got it on surface. Well, basically, I put two baits on my flapper rig, and I had to put a small slither of squid on the top hook and like a head and tentacles on bottom, and it took the small slither on the top hook. Got it on surface. There's a small drop. You put any pressure on with Aberdeens that are designed for like match fishing on a rock, you know, off beaches. Basically, the hook just snapped. Fish just said, "See you later." So I swapped them now for some Seaglow Chinook, Cato Chinook hooks. We'll bait them up. They're a bit stronger. Got a nice aggressive turn on them, and on the nice aggressive shape to them. And we'll hopefully, if we get another chance, we'll fare better. Right then, guys. Yeah. So I'm getting a bite actually. I was about to say I've changed them hooks, the Aberdeen hooks, to 2 Chinook hooks. Let's just see if I can bring in shot. I've got some right good lighting down here now. I've just got 2 little floodlights out. So I'll spin you around. So left hand rod. Let's have a look. Just wind up, give me a second, let's wind a bit of light. I don't know if you can see. Anyway, let's just have a look. Did have a decent bite on it. Let's leave it for a minute. I've just got back into contact with lead because it went a little loose, a little slack. Yeah, so I'll just get back to what I was saying. Right, so I've upgraded the hooks on that flapper rig to something a bit stronger. It's my own fault losing that fish, really, but targeting small stuff for the species, and that's what happens in it sometimes. So we'll see what happens. Oh, the lighting's better. I've it's 2 little floodlights out now and the ring light, so it should be. It's probably give us a bit more enthusiasm to stay a bit longer than we were going to, you know. Before I got that bite and lost us on the surface, I was thinking about giving it about another hour. I'm thinking maybe give it an hour and a half, 2 hours, so we'll see what happens. It's relatively comfortable down here to say it's January. The sea's ebbing out now. I don't know if the full moon's got something to do with these Huss being so tentative in how they're feeding. Some people say that it don't work very well on a full moon, and I've done all right usually. It might just be down to tides decreasing or something, I don't know, but usually they're quite obliging, bull Huss. Usually prefer, show irrespective of tides. There's certain tides that are better than others, but usually it don't make much difference. See what happens, isn't it? Basically, relatively comfortable, fairly happy now that I've actually connected with something. Selfish sign of things to come. The sea's ebbing out. It's flattened off quite a bit. The wind says it's 24 mile an hour southwesterly. We're probably getting about 15 of that, and it keeps us blasting round every now and again. Further off the cliff, I'm guessing it would be quite strong going into the bay that we're fishing into. But yeah, it's a clear night, and we're fishing quite comfortably. I've had a couple of bites in the last couple of bait ups. I've lost that Huss, obviously. I had a dogfish previously. Jay's had a couple of bites. Lost a Huss earlier on in session. It's been a bit of a frustrating one, but I'm relatively happy just being out fishing. And hopefully this session ends with something productive for one of us, not both of us. Fingers crossed. See what happens. Here we are. Do you want to turn your head to
It's alright, you got a right view there.
This is a lovely fish. My scales don't work, but that I'm 100% certain it's a PB. But I'm sure we'll get another opportunity to get a bigger one at some point in this year. I'm not going to be able to get a weight of it. I'll have one more go with scales before we put her back, but I think I'm going to be struggling. I'm just going to get a picture away and put her back. It's a sad one. It's a good £9. It's a lovely fish. On the back hook on that rig I showed you at the start of the video. Just see how this works with the bottom hook, the circle hook. It trails away from the fish, if you like. Doesn't risk harming them either. Like I say, it's not the most conventional way of doing it, but the circle as a bottom hook does work as well in terms of fish care. It's fairly snag proof. See what I mean? How it's on the outside of the fish with the back hook in its jaw. But I want some circles as a bottom hook. It's a strange setup, but it works. Right, he reckons about 8. It's a nice fish. I'm going to get a put back. Nice one, Jay. Good lad. Glad you're not blanking. You've had a few drop bites and stuff, haven't you? And it's weird they've come on feed over low. They don't normally do that on here, but we've never fished it over low in darkness. So, right, nice one, Jay. Jay's just getting a hook out of this Huss. I'm not kidding you. It's another donkey. Just let's get pliers. They're a lovely fish, but it's another donkey of an Huss. I can't describe to you, right? I've had one that's a donkey, and this one's a definite donkey. What we're left with doing to get an accurate. Can you see how thick it is? That's my hand's massive, right? Can you see? If you look at the pictures of me,
It's got a right girth.
yeah, I'm not kidding you. That's about 10 inches wide.
Yeah, easy. Even its tail.
What a fish! I mean, look at its head. It's an absolute beast. It's an absolute beast, honestly. Right then, guys, it's the morning after the night before. Well, it's the afternoon. Sorry, it's getting complicated. This. I work nights, that's all, and we did a night session fishing last night. So it's not morning; it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We got in at about 5. We had a beer just to toast. A relatively successful session, and I've gone to bed. Just got up, just making a brew. So, just a bit of fallout from that session. The 2 Huss that we did catch that were biggest 2 were definitely PBs. Now, I did take a measurement of them because my scales, I'll talk about this in a minute. I did take a measurement of them, mono, and I've gone on a chart after I've measured the mono when I've got back. And the miles out, honestly, it's like it's giving me £7 for mine. Jay's 8.5. Jay's 105 centimeters. Mine were 93. I'm not a fan of measuring. It's all right using it for a match, isn't it? When you're on about longest fish and all that, that's fine. But as a means to get away, I thought it'd give us an idea. But the Huss chart, it's absolutely miles out. The thing is with Huss, sometimes they're a short, fat fish. Them, I'm not kidding you. Both of them, the heads on them, just back at the back of the heads where the side fins are, they were like that. My hands are absolutely huge. Yeah, just looked at the video footage I've took, and literally it doesn't do it any justice. But I don't know why I'm bleating on about it because I ain't got to prove it to anyone. I've got to prove anything to anyone, have I? Like I said, Jake, we've just got to prove it to ourselves. We know that them two fish were PBs, and I'm happy now. I'm happy with that. I'm after that showcoat record, and I think on this mark we do have a chance now. I'm absolutely convinced we do. But even if I did get a showcoat record, I'd weigh it. I wouldn't be bothered whether it was a valid showcoat record or anything like that. Want to prove it to myself. I've fishing down here for 30 years. I just want to prove it to myself. You know, it's like the mark we fish when we cleared it out a couple of years ago, and I always said it was a good Huss mark, and that's like your instincts as a fisherman. You get that sense, don't you? There's another mark I want to clear out that I think will be a good Congo one. That's what your fisherman in you, isn't it? And that's I believe in this place that we're fishing that we've got a chance of this shortcut record us. I really do. I'm convinced there's a big one out there. So yeah, that's what we're going to carry on targeting. I'm going to close this video down here because we're going to have another session on that mark tonight. So keep an eye out for that video. So we're going back to two things that we've learned basically. Don't buy a cheap set of scales. Put money into your scales as much as what you put into like your spinning reel, say, a modest price spinning reel. Pay up to about 80 quid for a decent set of scales. Don't buy any cheap carp ones off eBay because they'll just let you down. And when you get that fish, that special fish, like I got last night, it didn't look very special in the video, I've got to admit, but it were definitely a PB, 110%. I'm giving myself 11.5 for that. My PB's 11. It probably weighed more, but I'm happy to take 11.5. Don't buy a cheap set of scales. When big fish are in and it's rough, well, don't fish marks where you're going to get big fish and use flapper rigs because it cost me 2 fish for that last night. But yeah, so I am happy overall though. So we're going to nip off to Crickieth in a bit when the Huss master gets up, and we're going to top a bit of bait up. Still got a box of squid and plenty of mackerel, but we're going to top a bit of bait up. We're going to fish big on 2 rods tonight on the same mark, so keep an eye out for that video. It'll be out just after this one. We'll get the scales sorted and we'll get back to it. Big shout out to Seaglow and the Kentaro Shawshank hooks. Fantastic. That setup with the bottom hook as a Mutsu circle, it is insanely good. I'll be using that for taupe. I know it's a strange combination putting the Mutsu circle on the bottom, but it fits in the splashdown. It's a really strong hook. If you hook something on the bottom hook, it's going to be nailed, no problem. It's strong, absolutely fantastic. And what it does do, when you do catch a fish and it hooks on the back hook, because it's a curled in circle hook, when the bottom hook trails, it doesn't risk nailing the fish anywhere. You know, it won't catch anywhere around its face and eyes and stuff like that. Fantastic, that. Big shout out to Seaglow. Absolutely delighted with the components so far. They were sound as a pound last night, them hooks. So just check out Seaglow on Google. If you Google it, it'll put you through to the website, and yeah, you can get them nice funky green splashdowns. Yeah, so that's it, guys. Happy, very happy. Right, on to the next one. See you later.